Today we're back with a Rakdos Creativity combo deck that is very similar in its payoff to last video, hoping to Creativity X equal 2, targeting 2 artifacts or creatures, and spinning into Xenagos plus Worldspine Worm, give the worm haste, attack for 30, trample, and win the game. This version's a little bit different than the previous one, and I think it's just definitively upgraded over the previous one with a full suite of 8 unexpected windfall effects. Big Score and Unexpected Windfall are exactly the same, aside from Big Score costing, we're trading 1 red pip for a generic pip, but these are really good because they allow you to turn 4 windfall, and then just turn 5 you have the 5 mana requisite treasures for creativity and get to cycle a little bit more. One thing I noticed a lot when playing the previous creativity combo list was it was kind of hard to get the first tokens going. We did have Reunion and Vampire's Kiss and Spoils, but I felt like just having those, I guess it's only 8 ways to start it, plus Fable, was not the greatest. So I like having this upgraded list. It still gets to run good interaction and push Thoughtseize and Cling and Rotten Reunion as incidental graveyard hate and value, or in Rotten Reunion's case, just a cheap way to pump out 2 tokens in an emergency situation. This list is based on Larry Fields' list, who took the deck, the 75 here, to I believe a top 4 or top 3 finish in a recent NRG event. He played it really well. One thing that I traded out, aside from a couple lands different instead of the Seize the Spoils, which I wanted to try since I found myself not drawing enough lands a lot of the time, was instead of Hullbreak Core, I'm still running the Thought Distortions. It's definitely not strictly better or strictly worse in my opinion. I really like Thought Distortion since, at least versus Control, and the abundance of Is It Phoenix decks, they just hold open so much counter magic that it's great to just completely rip it apart of their hand and take their graveyard apart. Though I definitely understand where Hullbreak Horror can be beneficial, since you can just flash it in uncounterably and stop your opponent's nonsense with your suite of 1 mana and 2 mana spells. Just keep bouncing their spells back to hand. But I'm on Thought Distortion. Previous video, Sekenzin was amazing, so I'm trying 2. I don't think it's punished me yet. Aside from that, pretty standard creativity combo list. Let's see if we can't get some combo kills. Alright, we are starting off in match number 1, going first with not the greatest of hands I've ever seen. We don't have any early interaction and no token. We do have creativity, which makes medium hands a lot better, but I still don't think I want to keep a hand like this, even though there's a lot of potential if we draw any of our 4 mana token producers. It's just too little that we're doing. Okay, this is a lot better, I think. Early interaction is nice. I'll probably keep and throw back an Awakening. I'd like to keep the second Awakening for redraws, since it's just a pretty reasonable thing to have access to in case we start drawing bad or we just need to cycle later on. Okay, it looks like probably a Rakdos mid-range opponent that we've got going on here. Let's take a peek. Could also be the mono-black Devotion deck, but it does appear to be mid-range. We don't really run a lot of things that care about removal, so I'll just take the Chandra, since that can actually deal us a lot of damage. I'll play the Haunted Ridge. I could have just committed this Sekenzin, but it's not like it holds up Fatal Push, and if we keep drawing lands, I don't want to commit the Sekenzen. Kroxa, okay. I'll probably pitch the push. Another Thoughtseize. That's fine. We know what their hand is, so I'll take their Bone Crusher guy. Now our opponent gets to feel what it's like to have everything taken from them, though they do still have the 2-man lands. Okay, they Thoughtseize us back. They'll almost certainly be taking the Valakut Awakening. I'm kind of surprised about that. Valakut Awakening is just a pretty good card all around. And if we had not drawn a land and instead drawn one of our 4-drops, it can act as a land. But I'm sure they had a good reason for that. Okay, we still know their entire hand. I could fire this off now, but if we draw bad, I'd rather have it like right here, to get 2 looks instead of 1. Okay, I definitely consider that a pretty decent draw. I think I'll play this tapped and hope our next draw isn't exactly Xenagos. I think that's the only real punish. Aside from that, I'd rather just have a land in play, since it's going to be tapped anyway. They'll probably start attacking with the Den. It's the quickest clock they can provide. Punish would be if we had Fatal Push, but we do not. We take a hit. I think I'll hold open the Fire Prophecy. There's not much reason for me to go for this now. I would need to get like exactly Thoughtseize for it to matter, because everything else is pretty much instant speed that we'd care about here. And if they do just fire up the Den, I probably am going to Fire Prophecy it. It takes so much off of their clock. This time, Hive. I guess they're playing around our removal. Okay, Pathway. I'll wait until they get to begin combat, and then I'll kill. I need this card. Of pretty much every Pioneer deck I've played, this one here is the slowest one I think I've ever played. The games just go very long. Since your goal is kind of to make it a long game. But I enjoy it since it feels very tense when you're playing the deck. Because trying to get the combo off under all the interaction that all these decks are running is a difficult thing to do. But I like it. There's still 1 card off from Kroxa, which if we don't draw any of our, I think 4 graveyard removal spells, we might be in for some trouble. Underdog. Scary, but not too scary. They've tapped out. I don't have a reason not to go for this here. Okay, another Windfall isn't good. It's not bad. Would really like one of our creativity effects. I'll probably go for both. The Windfall and Fable. Another Windfall. We've got enough treasure, so I'm just going to put this down. It does give them access to Fatal Push, so it's possible it was a mistake to do that, since now they can Fatal Push Croxa. But if we didn't, we were just dead on board. I think we're still dead on board if they go for the Fire Up Den line. Okay, we'll go to the next game. Would have loved to hit one of our creativities. Looks like it wasn't happening for an appreciable amount of time. We normally bring in Duress and Go Blank and trim on the Fatal Pushes. They're not as good in this matchup. The rest have enough merit that I like to keep them. Cling can be an absolute game changer, and Rotten Reunion has enough incidental help against their Croxa and Underdog that I like to keep it in, but I'll see you when they're done. We are back for game 2 with a... I don't know if I could call it a good hand. Our land situation is kind of awkward, so I might throw it back, but realistically we just need a third land for this to be good, and we're pretty Thoughtseize resistant, because World Spineworm, we don't really care if they take it. We're going to try and put it back in our deck anyway. So I'll probably try it out. Start with a Dragon Skull. Definitely need a third land, or else we're in a rough situation. But I think the Fables are one of our better token producers in this matchup specifically. Okay, unsurprising. I hope they take the World Spineworm, but it doesn't really matter. Probably the Fable would make sense. They pick Fable. Okay, we did get our land. Take a peek. Well, they don't have a second land, which makes me want to take the Summit. Or the... yeah, I guess it's just Shatter Skull. Smashing makes the most sense. Try and stop them from doing anything by missing a land drop. And we'll play this land. Doesn't really matter either way. Okay, they hit the land, unfortunately. If they Croxa, we'll just put the World Spineworm back in our deck. Shuffles away. Okay, we got another Fable. Maybe as reparations for them drawing a land off the top. Let's see if they can pull that trick off twice. If they do, they're in a pretty great spot. I mean, double Fable, Bone Crusher Giant's a lot of value. I would love to see them just pass priority back, but of course they did get the land. That sucks. Okay, they're gonna hold back the Stomp. They're gonna go for this Stomp, and I don't really see a reason to Thoughtseize them, so I'm going to try and dig for another land. Okay. It's not the worst draw on our deck, but, you know, it's pretty close. This, of course, will immediately get the stomp. I don't even know why I'm going to attacks. But, again, we know their hand is double Fable. And maybe they don't draw the 4th land. Who knows? Looks like they finally missed on a land after drawing just 2 in a row, so not too unlikely. All we want are lands at this point because we have the tokens, so probably just put back the Wormy. Okay. Reunion is a fine card to have. Mainly for just getting more tokens. If they block here and then just tap out, we should just have the game wrapped up, since we have our treasure that we were able to make that time around, and we'll have 2 targets. We could even just target double reflection. If we draw another land, we can target like 2 reunion tokens. Heck, we could even target 3 tokens if we draw another land to play around a removal spell. I'll probably do that if we're given the chance. Okay, so we don't know their entire hand still. But we can... Okay, now we do. Okay, barring one of our 2 bricks, we should just have this locked up. I'll go for the reunion now. There's not a real reason not to, I feel like. Because at worst, we can just start having the Kikis targeting each other. So I'd rather just get this mana used up. Okay. We didn't draw one of our 2 fail cases. And just verifying that that Fable is still in their hand. This is free to play here. Target the 2. Get our tokens. I guess they could have gone for a fatal push there, so maybe I should have targeted both. Yeah, I should have done that differently to play around them drawing exactly fatal push off the top with the blood token, but I guess they didn't really care enough to try it. And they have conceded, so maybe a slight misstep on a very small chance, but it's also possible they sided out the fatal push. I don't know if I saw one in their hand. No, I didn't. And with our deck being essentially all non-creatures, aside from our combo, Kiki, and Rotten Reunion, their removal isn't very good versus us. Maybe they're bringing them back in now after seeing how we finagled that win. But I'll see you for game 3. Alright, we're back for game 3 with what I would call a hand attack heavy hand. We would need to draw 2 lands at some point, but I think I'm going to try it out and hope that in our first 3 we at least get some lands. Okay, they'll probably take our Windfall. Not really anything else good for the taking, though I would love it if they took our Worm. Could also take our Duress. I'm gonna most likely lead on Urborg. It makes all our pathway lands just so much better. Okay, not too shocked about that one. We did draw another land, quite good. I could lead on the Thoughtseize, I think, in case they have Blood Tithe Harvester that I want to take, since we don't have much going on our board. Okay, looks like I was rewarded for that. And we'll almost certainly be taking Kalitas next turn. Go blank is pretty good. We'll begin with that Thoughtseize effect. Okay, well, they've got another Kalitas. Not that we can do anything about that at the moment, but if they play a land, we can at least make them only have Kalitas, I guess. Cling is really good. I'm happy to have that to help grind out even more. Though, unfortunately, Go Blank interferes with our Cling plan. I think I will Go Blank them. It's very likely they just discard land, but I guess we'll have seen if Duress made more sense in a second. Okay, it was Fatal Push that they had left, meaning they have exactly Kalitas. They're left needing a fourth land to do anything, but they'll eventually get there. I think it's only a matter of time. And it appears they got there here. This isn't particularly good against our main strategy, but it is pretty good against putting some pressure on us. I am going to go for the Fable here. It is definitely reasonable to try and go for the Cling and get our land, but I want to trade these cards in now. They're going to just be playing off the top. Really need to avoid Chandra. Okay, that's not great. We can't discard the Worm. I hate that we have to get rid of our Cling to Dust, since that was going to hopefully get us back in to the game. Okay, Thoughtseize is borderline useless at this stage in the game. We'll just discard. I could go for the treasure token, but I think I'm going to try and catch the Kalitas off guard and just kill it. Okay, now they won't attack. It's also good to keep this in hand in case we draw one of our looting discard effects. And if we draw our creativity, we can just slam it and win on the spot. Okay. I do want to get rid of the Kalitas. They'll leave us with exactly one spirit in all likelihood, but Kalitas won't exile any of these since it doesn't affect tokens and they don't have another zombie to sacrifice. I'll just order it for them out of the kindness of my heart. Not much to say about that turn. Keeping this land in hand for previously mentioned discard fodder. No utility land from them and no companion is quite nice. And we at least are putting a clock on them. Not a fast clock, but a clock all the same. Rotten Reunion, it's fine. It's more tokens. I can even make a copy of it end a turn, but I don't need to. It's 2 damage either way. Yeah, we'll just get to swinging. Got him on a 7-turn clock, minus the 4 from this, so a little bit less. Kroxa, that's fine. I can even discard the Rotten Reunion here. It's meant to be discarded anyway. I think I will. Maybe they'll be saddened by that. And I still like this land, because we will need a 5th land at some point. Okay, that was quite a good draw. Whoops, I need to pay red. Okay. I'm happy with the unexpected windfall. I'm gonna play this one out just because I don't want to use both treasures, and I'm probably going to eat this Crocs at some point. I don't believe our life total is going to be the deciding factor of this game, but it probably was a mistake to play that untapped, actually, now that I think about it, since it's unlikely they'll be able to put 2 cards in grave. Okay, they hit us with a Thoughtseize. Unfortunate. I'll wait on the reunion. Yeah. Another land, we could keep it in hopes that we draw another big score. So I'm probably going to. We have enough of everything resource-wise that we'd need. Castle Lochthwain is kind of scary. An extra card every turn is no joke. Hoping it's not like Stomp. It's no faster of a clock to go for the reunion here. Fire Prophecy is a pretty good draw. Again, hoping they didn't have Stomp in hand as their draw. Doesn't look like it was. We are going to go for Rotten Reunion end of turn in all likelihood, though it depends on what they've got going on. Castle Lochthwain would have killed them if I'd gone for Rotten Reunion end of turn, so they drew Stomp, it looks like, for the turn. If they play it, I will kill it and put back Blight Step. We'll be on the Crocs o'clock, so we'll have to Rotten Reunion, but we'll see what our draw is first. Take the 2. Bottom draw. Another Prophecy is decent enough. I might as well use my mana here. And it's 2 damage no matter what, so maybe I'll just go for the attack now, while it's less likely they have anything going on. I don't see much reason to go for either of these here. Get that Decayed trigger on. In all likelihood, we've turned off their Castle Lochthwain's ability. And I want to keep this Fire Prophecy just in case they slam like pretty much anything. Okay. Them not doing anything makes me want to big score. I don't like discarding a good card like Fire Prophecy, but I think there's a lot of advantage to getting another look at cards. And hey, if we draw Xenagos, we could just win. There's no reason to do this now. They have haste, and this mana is not going to be used. I might as well take a peek at their hand. Okay. So they have a Sekenzin, which can stop our Sekenzin, but they can't Sekenzin and Lochthwain. so I might as well go for them both. We still have them on the clock. They can upkeep Castle Lochthwain to get an extra draw out. They'll go for it now. Understandable. They have to block. I guess since they go to 1, they can't even use Lochthwain. That's my bad. Put down our Kiki. We have 2 potential lethal attackers. We've turned off their castle. I think their best draw here would be Sorin, if they have it in their deck. I think that's the only thing that would have saved them. And we untap, we would draw Fable. I would probably keep the Fable. But yeah, that was match 1 versus red-black midrange. Definitely a long game. I will see you for match 2. We're back for match 2 after a long, grindy match versus red-black. Going first versus probably a Gigantha deck, which narrows it down to more than likely a heroic deck, but we'll see. This hand is an easy keep. We have at least some early interaction, creativity, and our creativity enabler. I don't think I could ever put this back. Our deck struggles a little bit versus heroic and other aggressive decks. Not as much when they mull to 5, but as you might have seen in the previous match, we tend to go towards the double-digit turns, and, well, that's not very feasible when we're facing down someone who's hoping to put out a ton of attack on the first couple turns. But Fire Prophecy on a mull to 5 is quite good. Looks like it is that heroic. Maybe it's the Hammer Time deck. Well, there's enough that I could theorize. Let's look. I have seen a Boros Hammer Time list at one of my RCQs. Okay, this looks just to be... yeah, just a semi-affinity list. I think I'm feeling inclined to take Automaton, mainly because it has Ward. While Smith does Cantrip, I don't really care about their value, since barring drawing a brick piece, we're just going to kill them on turn 5. So I'll take Automaton. I guess the punish would be... no, there's not really much of a true punish. I don't want them to draw a 1-mana artifact, but we'll see. Shadow Spear. That's fine. I forgot to play a land. Wow, I'm completely bad at this game. Well, we're still gonna win. I'll say that much. I'm calling it now. I'm hoping that they go for the Michikos, and then I'll kill the Ingenious Smith, but they just add Gigantha to hand. I can't believe I did that. We'll still kill it. Been a Windfall, it's the worst of the bunch. We just draw another one. That's really funny. Doesn't look like it would have mattered, actually, at this current point in time. Take a peek. They're still 2 mana off from Gigantha. I think I'll take the Michikos, because they could just play it. But that is a lapse in judgment I have not made beforehand. Stone Coil Serpent, pretty scary. We'll attempt to get a redraw by taking out the Michiko. Okay, we did hit our redraw. So, barring any issues, we should still have the kill in 2 turns. But that doesn't mean that they won't be able to kill us in 2 turns. They need to hit us with this 3 times for it to gain enough life. We'll go for the big score now, hoping to hit the land. In case it's a tap land, generally. Okay. We hit our land. We can Fatal Push this if it puts up enough of a threat that we need to. But if they just attack like that, they're still currently dead, since they only have 2 toughness in play. Portable hole on our treasure token. That's unfortunate. We'll kill the Stone Coil Serpent, I think. Makes most sense. Oops, let me add the correct color of mana now. They can equip. Okay, well, we can't do anything about that one. They can still equip. Unfortunately for them, we have a lot more big scores. We'll discard this one, since I like holding open the Fatal Push. Good to draw that in case we hit our fail case next turn. Four mana for a Stone Coil. Lucky for us, we have Fatal Push. No reason to not do it now. Okay, we didn't hit one of our 2 fail cases. And we win. Very cool. Very ashamed of me just like missing a land drop for no reason, but we'll try and shake that one off. Path of Peril is quite good in this matchup, killing essentially everything that they have, since they're mainly 0, 1, 2, and X, which are 0 on field. Cling is at least pretty good for gaining us life. Probably take out the Thought Seizes. I'll try and bring in Duress, since they at least have enough non-creature cards that we can use the Duress. And I'll probably take out 1 Rotten Reunion, 1 Cling. We only really need to see Cling a single time. And Fable at least is a blocker, though they do have Trample a lot of the time. Kind of a mishmash of cards. This is just going to carry us, hopefully. And because they don't have blue as far as I can tell from what they've done, we don't have to go overboard on the Thoughtseize effects. But we've certainly gone under on lands here. Okay. Not good hand. Probably still going to keep it. Put back Xenagos. Bomat Courier. Starting off quickly enough. We just have a lot of removal, so I didn't feel too uncomfortable starting like that. Gee, how many removal spells do we run? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think 12 is how many we have now, with the 4 Fire Prophecy, 4 Push, and 4 Path. They find Shadow Spear again. This time I will remember to play my land. I want to kill the Bomat, I think. Well, we'll see what they target with the Michikos. Oh, just a Smith. They could be light on lands, and maybe Bomat doesn't matter until they put out... Okay, Springleaf Drum. Well, now the Bomat matters. I'm probably going to kill the Bomat now. And we'll go for a redraw. We have more than enough lands. I can even probably just pitch this one. Double Sekensen's okay. They can play the Spear. And they do. Okay. Not a great draw, but we'll have 5 more looks with Valakut Awakening at the end of the turn. What I'm most hoping not to see is Michiko's Reign of Truth, which we're going to... I guess we're not going to see it. Gingerbrute. And they're going quickly. Yeah, if we draw a path, I think the game more than likely is over. So I'm going to dig as many cards deep. I could keep the Valakut Awakening, but I think we're just dead if we don't draw it. So we're going to look. Any orders, fine. Okay. We didn't get it, but we do have double Fire Prophecy, which we'll probably have to fire off on Gingerbrute and Smith. Scary position to be in. Mutavault. They play it first so they don't confuse themselves. Is their last card Michiko? Nope, just a Serpent. We'll kill this now that the trigger's on the stack. Put back Windfall probably. We could also put back Stomping Ground. I'll kill the Mutavault when they go to combat. I mean, we know their last card is Portable Hole. And we'll put back the Stomping Ground here. Fatal Push. We're still under a lethal attack. Okay, with the second Fatal Push, we'd go to 1, unless they do the Mutavault, in which case we would go to a none. I don't think we're going to win this one. We can discard that. We've played our land drop. We use these 4. We'd have enough for exactly path. So we'd need to draw push. Well, I'd rather at least try it. Okay, that does not do it. I'm content to go to the next one. Pretty good showing from our opponent. I don't think anything else in here is good enough. This is okay versus their Smiths, but I'd rather keep our removal suite pretty low. Sorry, not low. Pretty... what would the word be that I'm looking for? Pretty good against everything, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And we really just want to find our paths. Because I don't want to have Running Volley in hand when I'm facing down a giant Ginger Brute. I'd rather just have Push or Prophecy. So we'll see you then. Alright, we will go first here. They need to reveal Gigantha. Another no-lander for our first. Yeah, this is a keepable hand. I think we know what's going on bottom. Lead with a Duress. Hopefully take something good. Hopefully it doesn't just miss. Michiko's. And we get an idea of what they've got going on here. I'll probably play the Haunted Ridge here. Yeah, I might as well. Rather decide on which side to do for this later. Probably going to be red, what with the Windfall and whatnot. Hopefully the Smith incentivizes them to play the Ornithopter, exactly. Just for the counter. Now I won't push and we'll path them next turn. Kling is a perfectly good draw. Yeah, we have double black. We might as well get double red. Erase a good chunk of their board. And we have enough targets for the Kling, though ideally we'll just draw a land here and then be able to Windfall the Kling. Okay, Michiko's is pretty scary. We did not hit a land, so I think I'm going to go for the Kling now. Hit the Michiko. The card draw is more important at the moment. We hit another land. Really nice to see. I'm probably going to push this just because our next turn is going to be Windfall almost certainly. Okay, I think we know their remaining card is Battlefield Forge and Gigantha. They can cast Gigantha next turn, regardless, so I think I'm going to push now. 3 damage is enough that I'm worried. We'll go for the big score. I can probably bend the path, but that does run the risk of me dying to the Michikos in a couple turns, and I can cleave it next turn anyway. We have a lot of these effects in our deck too. Play a land. Our Kling is active in terms of cards, but we don't have the mana for it. What are you doing with your mana? They're just drawing 2 cards with Roadside Reliquary. Pretty good. Makes me glad that we kept the path. I didn't expect them to just jam that. But they will be back down to a decently low number of cards in hand when we 3-for-1 them. And we'll take the 1. Okay, we hit a brick. We can cast this without cleave. They'll still have Gigantha, but oh well. I don't want to take a lot of damage from it. We could just cast Xenagos here. I'm not going to, I don't think. That's a particularly strong play. I am going to commit this so we can Kling end of turn without using both our treasures. I want to dig for another card. So they have Gigantha. And it appears that's going to be the play. I would imagine that their last card could just be a land. I'm gonna cling now, hit the Michiko. Hate that we have to get rid of the treasure. Just a land. Valakut Awakening is worthwhile to cast now. Put that Xenagos right back on the bottom. And draw 3. Okay, so end of turn we can discard Sekenzin and then untap Creativity. So we'll do that. Not like I would want to play it anyway. I'm hoping that they just evacuate their hand, but it appears they're more likely going to just be swinging out. I would love for them to play something. It's kind of stressing me out about what their last card could be. Glad that we had that. Okay, not World Spineworm. Hit our 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I would like to go to win the game. And we do. Great. Pretty good showing from the deck. We got run over, which is certainly something that happens with this deck if we don't draw our removal. But then in that game, we saw how amazing Path of Peril can be in these aggressive matchups. Mainly Heroic is where I find it succeeds the best, but it has a lot of collateral damage. Anyway, I'll see you for match 3. We return for match 3, going second this time around. Looks like our opponent has a companion since they chose to play first and it didn't immediately pass priority to us. Gigantha again makes me think Heroic. This is a perfectly reasonable hand. We're gonna have to fit a tap land in at some point. But I'd like to keep this in hope it's Heroic. Okay, it looks like it's probably Jund Sack. I'm gonna be happy about this Rotten Reunion, probably. Looks like we will not have to play a tap land after all. And I don't really see a reason to push the cat. I haven't faced either Rakdos or Jund Sack too many times, but I imagine we can do decently well versus them. All their claim effects are dead, and we really don't care about their Mayhem Devil pinging down our 1/1s as much as we did in Titan. It looks like they probably just get a dispute. I could check. Leaves us a little weak to a Mayhem Devil, but that's fine. I'm gonna take a peek. Maybe if they have a Mayhem Devil, we just take it. But they're gonna have to fire off their... Oh, no, they don't have anything to do. I think we probably take the Fable just because we already have removal for the Mayhem Devil in hand. Yeah, I can justify my decision. Let's make sure we've played our land instead of passing priority again. Okay, I feel like this is always going to be the Mayhem Devil. Makes sense. I'm feeling somewhat inclined to just push this Cauldron Familiar, but let me think about it when they go to attacks. I'm somewhat inclined, but I'm not motivated enough to do it here. Well, we know what we're putting on bottom. Go for it now, because I really want to actually have this resolve. Creativity is good. Over the course of the next 2 turns, we can get both of our Rotten Reunions out. It does leave us a little more weak to creature removal than we normally are. Okay. I'm hoping a Gigantha ad is their play. Blood Tithe, that's fine. I don't particularly care about that. That does provide a better Fatal Push target than Cat. The punish would be if their last card in hand is Village Rites. Doesn't appear that it was, but who knows? They might be saving it for the cat. I think I'm going to go for the Fable over Rotten Reunion Flashback Rotten Reunion, mainly because if they have creature removal, they're probably going to use it on the Kiki token anyway. So I'd rather bait that out than next turn, if need be, we can Rotten Reunion, and then turn after Creativity. But Fable is much more likely to bait out the removal. It's weaker to claim, but that's pretty reasonable. I think them stealing it with claim is the only downside to this line. They discard Blood Crypt. So they still have claim plus 1 unknown. If they claim, they cannot activate their Hive or Den, which in all honesty, I don't care. I would really like them to just tap out here for something. Okay. We should have the win, barring, you know, our usual fail case. But I think our best bet is go to end step and then eat. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We could even choose no targets with Rotten Reunion since it has that clause written into it, but we do have to do it. We'll eat the Mayhem Devil because it feels better to do it like that. And then we'll yield through turn. We'll get back that Goblin Shaman. I'm able to discard 2, but there is 0 reason for me to do that. We have everything we need, and those 2 cards could possibly result in us losing the game. So instead, I'm making the decision to win the game, which I feel like is an all-around better decision. They'll get to see our entire deck, basically, because we put that worm right on the bottom. And there we go. Yeah, one of the funny downsides of this deck is just that fact that when you put one of your combo pieces on bottom, you gotta show them it's there. So they get to see everything. But I don't think that the knowledge you're concealing or the knowledge you're showing really matters in this modern era where deck lists are so widely publicized and standardized. Regardless, I think Go Blank is a reasonable card to have, eating their graveyard, taking their cards out. Duress for their potential. Hate. Rending Volley and Fry have no place. Thought Distortion is kind of mediocre. They're not going to be hoarding their non-creature spells in hand anyway. And Path is pretty good, but it misses on Mayhem Devil, unfortunately, unless we cleave it for 6, which I'm not going to bother doing that. The only issue I see is that all our removal is pretty good. Rotten Reunion hits the cats, as do Cling. We could cut 2 Thoughtseize, but we want to hit Mayhem Devil. Fire Prophecy hits Mayhem Devil. We could cut Fable. Feels weird after playing so much Pioneer to ever cut Fable, because this card is just such a perennial staple. But in our deck specifically, it is not that amazing. I'm probably just going to cut them all. Though we could also just cut the Duresses. It's either the Duresses or the Fable that aren't making it past this. What am I hoping to hit with Duress? Witch's Oven is the big one. I'll try it. Fable is the weakest of our looting plus token producers, just because it's vulnerable and takes quite a few turns to get going. Well, we haven't gotten our our 0-lander this time, but a 1-lander is still bad. We're also going to get a 1-lander here. 1-lander with our brick again. We'll have to go down. Okay, this has more than 1 land, which of course is a keep. I'm tempted to put the Creativity back just because it's so likely they have hand attack. I mean, they're going to bring in Duress, they're going to bring in Thoughtseize, or they already have Thoughtseize rather. And I think I'm going to ship a land as well. I want to keep all our removal in hand, and at least these represent redraws when they Thoughtseize us. Yeah, that's why I put the Creativity on bottom, because Creativity always gets hit. Okay. Well, they might have taken one of our Fire Prophecies, but we got another one off the top. Cat. Maybe they have Oven. Witness. Okay. If we'd played this untapped, we could have punished that by killing it in their end step. I'm just going to yield through turn here. I'm going to most likely try and get the Fire Prophecy off. Put back, push. Mayhem Devil. Obnixilis, okay. Very cool. We're going to be killing that Witness here. Pretty scary because we don't really have any board presence, so those will just continually tick up rather. But we'll use our mana and put back Fatal Push. Okay, no land. We'll have another look. Cling. Do I think Cling is better than Fire Prophecy here? Probably. Okay. I could go for the Prophecy here. I'm not going to. Save it for the Mayhem Devil. Oven. Perhaps I go for it now, but I don't particularly care about the redraw. Yeah, I don't care about the redraw. We'll just take 2. This is a quick clock, and they're gaining some life. Witness. I will kill that. They can draw something that's good, and it would be not great for us, but notably, they can't hit Mayhem Devil this turn. And we have to do it in main, because this is until end of turn. Okay, we can just yield. Would they hit? Okay. Nothing amazing. In fact, nothing usable. We're not in a great spot here. No two ways about it. We're taking 5 damage every turn. So I don't think there's an out for us here, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm actually just going to concede here, I think. Because I can do 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. No matter how they do it, we're just going to lose, unfortunately. I could have gone for the go blank, but they just would have brought it back anyway. Not enough there. Maybe I'll bring in the Fables instead of the go blanks here. Didn't seem particularly good, and our lack of board presence didn't help. So we'll try this one out. But again, we did mull to 5. So that's my coping mechanism for that. 2-lander, I'll keep. We just have to play this turn 1 to avoid losing to turn 1 hand attack. These modal double face lands are incredible additions to most decks, but they are not lands in hand. Glad to see that one. Take a peek. Could hold open Fire Prophecy, but with this Witch's Oven, they're always going to be able to blank it. Okay, I think I take Deadly Dispute. At the moment, they don't have any creatures in hand, and at least the Deadly Dispute can be used on... Okay, our hand is pretty Thoughtseize proof. They'll probably take the Fable. Anyway, at least Dispute can be used on that Witch's Oven of theirs. Yep, they do take the Fable, understandably. We know their hand. They play these two. Since they did that, we could take the Village Rites. They're just going to be playing off the top by and large, so I'm going to. We do need a 4th land to get this hand going. But we've at least gotten rid of most of their value engines. Glad to see them have to commit that. They just add Giganta. Land would be great. That is a great draw. I'll fire it off later. They're still 2 turns away from Giganta-ing. We'll probably bin this Fire Prophecy for aforementioned reason. They hit Dispute, which they're likely to go for. They need some more card draw. Probably sacrificing that food of theirs. Okay. They're up to 5 cards in hand, and they can Giganta next turn. We still know 2 of the cards. Use the Windfall first, mainly because we have the mana available, but it hopefully will not matter. Alright, 1 draw step. Okay, whew. This is definitely the most stressful of decks, since you can do everything right and still lose. Only punish should be like a Shatter effect, I guess. Cool. Well, that was match number 3 versus a Rakdos sack deck. I will see you for match 4. Okay, we return for match number 4. Going first here with a really good hand. Things could go wrong, but we have early game interaction and our 2 combo cards. Why would I ever throw it back? Let's see what our opponent does. They mulligan, which is always great to see when you have turn 1 Thoughtseize. They're thinking about their second hand. They keep it. Alright, time to see what they were so ponderous about. Okay. Humans. I could take the Adeline just because it is a ton scarier than anything else in their deck. I could also take the Kythian to slow them down by 2 turns, but I can deal with a 10-turn clock. I can't deal with an Adeline most of the time. Kythian. Okay, we'll just put down our land. We'll keep in mind the Brave the Elements, but we're not exactly holding a lot of removal here. Okay, they played the second plains. They drew a Thraben Inspector. Windfall isn't good, it's not bad. It's a card that we drew. Sheffet Doins, so we know 1 card remaining in their hand. I would really hate to see a Thalia out of them, since that would slow us down by an entire turn cycle. But it doesn't look like they have anything to do. Okay, another big score. Again, not good, not bad. The only thing that matters here is whether or not we draw a brick and whether or not they draw Thalia. Very binary. Bodyguard, irrelevant by and large. They choose the Thraben Inspector. I guess because Kythian can already protect itself. Okay. We'll go for the Windfall. Discard 1 score. And if we draw Worm, we can always big score. But if we drew Xenagos, we'd be in a bad place. Okay, we'll use the creativity that started in our hand out of respect for it being in our opener. I don't know exactly what they could have. Not playing around anything. Not like I would anyway. I don't think this deck can even interact with us on our turn aside from their 1 or 2 copies of the Channel Land, whose name is currently escaping me. Aganja, that's the name of it. Yeah, that was pretty much textbook. We didn't do anything for turn 3 and turn 2, and then we won on turn 5. Cool. Versus humans, we get a lot of good cards. Fry and Volley are exceptionally good. Path of Peril, also pretty good. Cling to Dust normally comes out, as does Rotten Reunion and Thoughtseize. And then I find myself tempted to cut 1 Fable. It's certainly an argument that we have too many Path of Peril, but I've faced enough control players, and they would tell me there's no such thing as too many board wipes, since they seem to board wipe me every turn. Anyways, I find this to be pretty good, and I think this hand can be pretty good. We do need a 3rd land. I think we have enough lands and draw that I'll hopefully get there. But we have creativity score, early interaction, and this time we actually have something to do on turn 3. I'm very likely to play this Haunted Ridge first, unless we draw another land, just because I want to be able to kill a Thalia on turn 2. Okay, we did draw a 2nd land, or a 3rd land rather. I can at least hold it up. It's 2 damage. The opportunity cost is 2 damage. Do I care about that 2 damage? It could definitely come down to it. I'm not doing anything turn 2 anyway, so the only real punish here would be Thalia's Lieutenant, and I am scared of that. So 4 Thalias punish us, 4 Lieutenants are rewarded by this, as well as the 4 ones that target this one in particular. Okay, so we were at least rewarded for that play. I'll kill it now. They're definitely putting the target on the Dauntless Bodyguard, but across 3 turns, this represents more damage, I believe. Okay. Fatal Push puts us in a similar position where if we play it untapped, we can kill a Thalia, but they should have gone for Thalia then if they'd had it. Or at least, knowing my deck, if I were piloting both decks, I would have gone for it. Which, you know, that might not be a real way to judge. Probably the 3-drop enchantment. No, just Redain. It's decently good against us. I could wait for Revolt on the Fable token to kill that. And I am tempted to do that, actually. Because we can Haunted Ridge, Fable, and then attack, kill that. Yeah, I think I am going to do that. The punish is that for one of our draw steps, we manage to draw Fire Prophecy or any of our other removal. We have so much removal in our deck, and everything aside from Fatal Push can kill that Redain. I think I've convinced myself to do it like this, because even at worst, we can still Fable. Okay, that was a reward. And I mean, technically we don't even need to cast Big Score, since we'll have 2 permanents on turn 5 that we can target. Okay, we weren't going to be targeting many lands anyway, but, you know, 2/3 flyer is a 2/3 flyer. Would love to see another land. That counts. I feel comfortable enough to cut, or to ditch a Creativity. Only punishes one of our Worms or Xenagos, but okay. We do have the Swamp, so I'll do that. They could have Protection. I think I'm still going to try and hit them with the Rending Volley. Looks like they have it. Okay. Unfortunate. We can attack with our Goblin token if we want to try to Big Score next turn. I think I'm going to. It doesn't do us any good on the ground anyway. Maybe they think we're trying to get Revolt. Who knows the mind of our opponent. Okay. That makes sense if they block like that, but they could also just be scared. I'm hoping that they're just scared. They'll double block. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they would even think we're playing around. But again, we can Big Score and then try in Creativity. This only hits the Tomic. I don't see a reason to Sekenzen here. It would eat our treasure anyway. So they're putting on a decent clock here. Valakut Awakening, I wouldn't say that's a particularly good draw. We'll probably end up discarding it. But yeah, if we big score, we're still going to be 1 short of creativity since this will cost 7, and we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm not feeling amazing about our position. Depending on how they play, I might just go for the Valakut Awakening and hope to draw a push. That's pretty frightening. Again, if we just draw push on any of our draws, we can just kill the Redain. We have to block the Lieutenant, and we'll block it before we begin to dig. Just because if they have another Brave, we would, just lose, which I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, I think we score. Try and find something. Path is good. Who knows if it's enough. We're going to have to use one of our tokens again, unfortunately. But by casting it with Cleave, we don't have to pay any Redain tax. And I'm most certainly going to be casting it with Cleave. Pay the white. We're paying a bunch more just to kill that Redain, but no Brave the Elements can save them. And we'll commit our Valakut Awakening. We're almost certainly going to Unexpected Windfall this upcoming turn. An Adeline? No, just another Redain. Notably, that hurts us a lot. We can still go for Windfall, and I'm going to do it now. Just to try and keep getting our land drops. Rending Volley. Yeah, I might as well go for it here. We'll still have the 2 treasures. Requisite for our creativity. Thalia won't stop us. 3rd Redain. Catalan, doesn't matter. Okay, the only thing that matters is our draw here. Okay. Target 2. I would like to win the game. And if you're facing this deck online, my deck, always make sure you see the worm come out. Because I had a match where I was facing an Is It version of this deck, and they got their combo set up, did it with all the confidence they can on an online game, and I right-clicked and was about to concede, and then just decided to see, hey, do they actually have it? And despite being X=2, all that plopped out was a Xenagos, and they lost. But yeah, that is match 4 down versus Mono White Humans. Again, showing off Path of Peril, how great it can be, and how, with relative ease, we can cleave it. I'll see you for match 5. Alright, we are back in match number 5 versus a Brewer and Streamer, So Imbaglade. I think there are 2 siblings who are both on this account, so I'm not sure who's who, but I think I'll keep this hand. We've got 2 lands in the combo, enough early interaction that I feel comfortable with it. Okay. Looks like the player is on Golgari Devotion. They just hit another land. With this land drop, I feel comfortable enough going for turn 1 Thoughtseize, since we can just play that turn 2. Yeah. Maybe it was always right to do turn 1 Thoughtseize. But regardless, glad to draw land. Take a peek. Well, that's a top-heavy hand if I've ever seen one. Yeah, we'll take the bridge. Hopefully we can kill them before they get to their strong turns. Elf, yeah, that'll be dead. I'll push just because I want to save this prophecy. We'll play out the Awakening. We already have a mulligan, and I want to have assurance that we're getting our 4th land, though we could just play this next turn. I still think if we're planning on ever playing it, we should play it now. Okay, Nykthos. Another Fire Prophecy. That's fine. No reason to play that. I'm really hoping that they don't draw Karn. They would need to have had land into Karn. Okay, we'll be killing that. End of turn, of course. We'll bin a Prophecy. I need the land, I need the Windfall, and I need the Creativity. Okay, we got another land. We have all our red, and we have everything we need, so we just need to not hit our fail case. We are actually able to just go for a Sekenzen channel, which would give us a lot lower chance of hitting our fail case with Windfall. So I think I'm actually going to go for that. Let's just make sure. We'd have, yep, 5 lands and 2 targets. So this is marginal, but important enough to me that I'm willing to do it. All right. Textbook. Game 1, Down versus Devotion. This is always a matchup I kind of struggle to sideboard with, just because the paths are good versus pretty much exactly the elves, but push, prophecy, Thoughtseize, we've already got a lot for them. I do normally bring in Duress, just because it is able to take out the thing we care about, which is pretty much exactly Karn. And I'm fine with cutting Reunion Cling, I think. Yep, we'll try that out. All right, we are back, and our hand is pretty good. I like it. We're missing the creativity effect, but we have enough lands, enough to do on our turn 1 and 2, that I don't want to throw it back, even though they kept a 7, or maybe I don't want to throw it back even more because they didn't keep us, or because they didn't mulligan. Probably a turn 1 elf. They do run 8 for a reason. Might as well go for this. Maybe I can pick off a Kiora. Okay. I think I will take Kiora, because otherwise they could go Kiora Oath and then Wolf Willow. Well, they're kind of stuck on lands too. So maybe I take the Wolf Willow Haven, punishes if they draw another land. Let's see. I take the Kiora. They get more looks at a land. And this turn they can Oath, find a land, Wolf Willow. If I don't take Kiora and instead take Oath, they can't Kiora and Wolf Willow. So I think I might take the Oath and hope that they miss on a land, but they can Wolf Willow regardless. This is a very tough choice. It's never Cavalier. Not just because they have 2, but because it's so far away. Wolf Willow is scary, but so is Kiora. The combination of them is quite scary too. I think I am feeling like I want to take the Kiora. If they don't draw a land, they might just feel obligated to play the Wolf Willow, because if they miss, it's such a bad deal for them. So I'm gonna make a decision on that. There's a ton of arguments that that's the wrong choice, though. They'll probably start off with Oath. Yep, I'm content to yield through the turn. I would love for them to not reveal a land. Cool. I'm going to keep this in hand for a turn. Shock. Kill the Elvish Mystic. And we'll put back a Stomping Ground, I think. Or we could put back a Windfall and then plan to Valakut Awakening next turn. I'm probably going to put back the Stomping Ground. I think we're going to have a lot of draws. Okay, and it became another land anyway. So we know that they have 4 non-creature spells in hand. Or non-land spells, I mean. Haunted Ridge, sure. I think we'll Valakut Awakening, put back everything but a Windfall. Really needing to find ourselves a Creativity. Nykthos. Kiora, okay, that's very frightening. But barring a Karn, I feel like we can handle a lot of what they do. They'll have a lot of mana. Bin these 3. Definitely could bin this as well, just because we have a lot of them, but did not hit it. I could go for the Windfall now and then duress them afterwards, but maybe I go for the Windfall now, and if I draw the Creativity, I can kind of influence my decision making by that. The Karn punish is just so difficult, but let's think. If they have Karn as their next draw, the punish is even worse because they could uptick on our treasure and then we wouldn't be able to go for the turn 5 kill. I think I'll hold back. Very debatable. But I've had my treasures plussed on by Karn a lot more than I'd like. Okay, Nykthos adds 1 additional mana. Okay. They can Storm here. If they Cavalier, they would need to hit 2 lands in order for well, if they tap Nykthos, they go up to 6. Okay, so this is free, sadly, but I feel comfortable if they just go for a Cavalier. I don't feel comfortable if they go for Karn. Okay, Cavalier is good enough. Let's remove that. They get a redraw. They get to put a land in play. Nykthos is not good at all for us because it gets them another Cavalier, another draw, and a lot more mana. Cavalier again. They get to draw. I hope not a Nykthos. Okay, probably just put that forest in play. I don't want to see a Storm. Anything else is okay. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have a lethal attack, even if we manage to get our combo off. Wolf Willow Haven, that's fine. Maybe I want to have... That's so bad. Maybe I want to have a couple paths in the deck just because of a situation like this. But it's also possible that we're just going to lose if this happens. So why does it even matter? Whew, that's a lot of damage. We'll discard one Awakening. They are just showing lethal on board, and we have no means by which we can get the combo. So I think I'm going to concede here. Let's see how far it was away, though, just for fun. Sometimes it's interesting to see. Who knows, maybe we'll find something we didn't know that got us out of this, though. There's nothing in our deck that does. Okay, so we weren't particularly close to it, but we were close to the worm. So a sad game, too, if you're not on the side of devotion. Maybe I'll try 2 paths. It's just so not good versus everything, unless we're cleaving it, which we would have already had to do on turn 4 with big score. I'll try 1. Cut a Rotten Reunion. Though, there certainly could be a time when Rotten Reunion wins us the game by exiling their Storm the Festival, or just making 2 tokens on a particular turn. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. This only hits Mana Dorks unless it's cleaved, which is just so unlikely. I'm kind of waffling, sorry. I am going to try a path. Test it out for these future matchups versus Devotion. I will go first. Yeah, good hand. Mainly because of creativity, but also because of our removal and a good land situation. I'll keep. No Thoughtseize effects make it a little difficult to be assured that our combo will get there. Yeah, we brought in both of our duresses still. So we have an appreciable amount of chance to get there. And there is, if they play turn 1 Dork, a consideration to not push it and instead go for the Fire Prophecy to try and get a redraw into one of our discard effects. We'll see how I feel about it after I see what they've done. Urborg is the best turn 1 land drop, turning all of our red lands into swamps as well. I'm sure they have an elf. I am just going to kill it. It's kind of likely they have another elf. And at worst, we can always target a Old Growth Troll. Well, I guess we'll see how good Path of Peril is. Would this be better here if it were Rotten Reunion? Absolutely, because we could pretty much guarantee these. Okay, another land. Yeah, because right now we could already have 2 tokens made. Wouldn't that be funny if we lost because of that, and lost the 5-0 because of a simple swap of Path of Peril? Kiora, they didn't have a 1-drop last turn. Okay. Well, this won't be shocking, but I am shocking. I would really love to see them, just do nothing, of course, but I don't want to see a brick. I don't want to see a combo. I don't want to see Thoughtseize. I'm okay seeing Old Growth Troll. They have a land. Tapped. Okay. Windfall. I'm going to discard Path of Peril. We still need another land. We didn't get the other land. That's really bad. I'm going to go for the Windfall now, in case we hit an obligate tap land. I don't think we need every creativity. We missed on lands again, but this time it doesn't matter because we have creativity. Or sorry, we have treasure tokens. I'm going to Thought Seize them. We have one extra. Punish is if they have Karn, double Karn specifically, but they probably would have gone for Karn there. I'll take a peek. Okay. They have enough for Storm. All comes down to this. What do I care off of Storm? I care if they hit more than... They would need 11 power. And if Karn pluses on a treasure, that's bad. Well, it all comes down to what they hit. If they hit Karn off of Storm, it doesn't matter. It's possible that they're not going to uptick the Karn on the treasure. Instead, they're going to try and find something to beat us next turn. But they have 3 Karns left in their deck. I think I'm going to go for the Karn and hope that their Storm doesn't put Cavalier into play. Okay, all comes down to this. This Storm has to be very good. And if we didn't take the Karn, I was thinking about it, and they plussed on the treasure, we do still have a lot of lands by which we can win the game. But I would rather not put it up to chance. Okay, so don't want to see Cavalier or Karn. Cavalier and Karn are the best things they can hit. Everything else is probably fine for us. Okay, they do plus. It's really bad. We're back down to needing to hit an untapped land. I still think it was correct to go for that Thought Seize. Okay, all comes down to this one, because next turn they can get the statue. Okay, really need untapped land here. Tapped land, that's so bad. We might have just lost. I can go for creativity, x equal... Well, I can't... Yeah, I can go for x equal 1 here. They can get Meteor Golem and kill it, if we even hit her best target. I think I'm just going to go for the big score and hope that they mess up and target one of our treasure tokens. They should just get statue and they'll win the game, most likely. Maybe they'll flashback Storm. That is a huge mistake if they do. This is free for them. I really hope they go for Storm. That's our win condition. They mess up and go for Storm. Okay. They have enough mana to do pretty much everything they could ever want. Now that they can't get flashback Storm, they probably are going to go for statue, and we'll lose. Dang, that is so unfortunate. I was really hoping to get the 5-0, but again, not over. Technically. Oh, I guess they can storm. I hope they do. Please storm, opponent. They're not going to. They should get statue. Chainveil. Do they have the win? I don't think they do yet. They're at 3-6-8 devotion. I guess they can do Chainveil and get statue. Another Kiora. Dang, that's so sad. Any untapped source, we just won on the spot. Now we have to sit through this nonsense. If I see them put to stack that statue, I think I'm just going to give up. I don't think they have the combo, do they? Oh wait, no they do, because they Chainveil activated. Well, I'll at least make them do it for a little bit longer, because they got the Karn in graveyard. Ugh, that's so unlucky. I'll see what they do. They can always mess up, but we've lost at this point. Oh well, that's so sad. Still a good showing from the deck. Very disappointing finish. Can't even put into words how disappointing that is. All we needed was any untapped source, and we won. If we took the Karn, it wouldn't have mattered. Well, thank you so much for watching. I think this deck performed better than the previous version. See you next time.